I'm going to explain to you why the gastric lap band did not work for me. It wasn't, I don't know if it was just not good for my body or if it wasn't good for my mentality. I don't know. But I remember I got the lap band done in 2007 and I got it removed in 2008. I had only lost about 42 pounds the whole year that I had the lap band. And to be honest with you, I don't remember any prep when it came to really getting the lap band at the time. It was more of just like fasting the day before surgery. Then, about 2 weeks after I had the lap band, I was supposed to drink um, like liquids until I could start with soft foods. However, I will never forget like the very first day I was able to eat soft foods, and I drove out of my garage and I was driving down the road, and I think I had an egg white, and no kidding, I had to pull to the side of the road because I literally thought I was dying. I thought this is how it ends type of feeling. Um, I had never had restriction when it came to like my throat or my stomach. I didn't know what to expect. I know a lot of people talk about being sick. I don't know if it was a sick sensation as much as it was like a gagging sensation. And literally for the full year I had I had that the entire time. Like I would get the syringe that would tighten the band and loosen the band, and no kidding, I had this sensation the whole time. And I'm the type of girl that I can take a whole fistful of vitamins and swallow them all in one gulp. I've never had like a restriction, which is obviously why I got it. But I don't know if I started to like my body or my mind started outsmarting the band to where I knew that if I sat at dinner long enough, I could consume everything on my plate. So I would let like close people, like close friends, and obviously my family know what was going on. So if I had to run to the bathroom, it was normally to spit up. It wasn't because I was feeling the sick they talk about. It was more just sort of like a spit throw up. It wasn't like a full stomach upheaval. It was just like to get that from out of my throat because I felt like it was in my throat, but it obviously was in my stomach, if that makes sense. It was hard to explain. But anyway, I it didn't work because I don't know. I didn't do enough research on the lap band when I first got it, and apparently that's one surgery that takes a little longer to lose weight, and I did not expect it to take so long for me. I wasn't, um, perhaps I wasn't ready in the right mindset. I really didn't know what to expect. Um, but the I never the whole your eyes are bigger than your stomach thing was definitely an issue. I would constantly eat or like fill my plate with more than I could actually eat. But if I sat there long enough, I could feel it go through the band, so I knew when I was good to eat again. So it wasn't really restricting me, it was just another process to get through to eat. And so, um, I don't know. It was having a hard time, and no kidding, like the entire time I had it, I literally was constantly eating food and then spitting up food, constantly running to the bathroom. I was constantly having this problem. And so a month, or I think it was like 10 or 11 months after I received the surgery, and I did it out of state. I ended up I woke up one morning, and this had happened. This had been after many times of um, spitting up or like constantly rejecting the food, which you'd think I would lose a lot more weight, but I don't know if I have maybe a tendency to eat really fast. Like I grew up in a big family, and it's like get it before it's gone type of thing. I don't know, but I remember waking up one morning and having sort of a boil on my stomach and just thinking nothing of it, not putting two and two together. And eventually the boil ruptured on its own, and then it wouldn't heal. And so I would go to the dermatologist and I got it stitched up. And then the stitching came out, and then I got it like a caterpillar stitch or a bigger stitch to hold it close. And then it wouldn't. Anyway, it was constantly like opening up, and I didn't understand what the deal was. I ended up going back to see the doctor that I saw in Las Vegas, and which is where I'm from, where I had the surgery. And um, it was interesting because he said to me, he's like, "Why didn't you come and see me sooner?" And I just didn't put two and two together. I didn't realize what was happening. I didn't realize that my body was rejecting the lap band. And honestly, they talk to you about this little tiny percentage that gets rejected. Well, I was that percentage. And so I didn't realize that that was my body, that was what my body was doing. And so we went ahead and took out the portal and hoped it would heal up that way. And the portal would, I'd have to pack. We had left an open wound because at this point that was the only way it could had a possibility of healing. So we left an open wound, and I would literally pack my stomach. I brought my mom would have to come over in the morning, and we'd have to dip the gauze in saline and pack my stomach and check every morning to see if there was green on it, if I was infected. I mean, that went on for weeks, and then I my stomach was getting irritated from the band-aid or the tape ointment that I'd have to use to like keep the bandage closed. It was really weird. I've never had to pack a wound closed. That was sort of my first experience with that, and hopefully my last. And it was sort of gross, and I don't know. It was just a weird experience. Anyway, and then um, it just was getting worse and getting worse. And then one day I realized that I was infected, and all of a sudden I started to see a little bit of green. I had to go back to Las Vegas. We'd already removed the portal, but at this point there was no real option other than to remove the whole thing. He was gonna, my surgeon was gonna take one more try, and like he put some type of medicine in the open wound. And that night, no kidding, I was down. It was crazy. I was down on the floor. We went to sushi for that night or something, and I remember looking at the floor and thinking, okay, if I'm gonna fall, I'm gonna fall right there. And it got worse, and by the end of the night I ended up in the ER. And literally after that, it just was pandemonium with my body and everything. I remember staying in the hospital in Las Vegas for 2 to 3 weeks, fighting for my life. My blood became septic. My organs were shutting down. I was had everything go wrong that could possibly go wrong. And this was very unfortunate for me because I actually did the lap band out of pocket. I did it without insurance, and so you never think that anything's going to go wrong. But this was the perfect storm. This was the perfect horror story. So not only did I spend thousands at the lap band, this was about 10 years ago, but now there was my insurance would not cover me because they felt like it was a cosmetic procedure back then. And so anyway, it was a complete nightmare. And for the longest time, I never thought I would actually do this again. I've had a lot of PTSD when it came to like any type of surgery, when it came to weight loss. And so believe me, I have tried everything I could without weight loss surgery being an option for me again. I have tried everything I could to lose the weight and sustain it. And it has just been the hardest thing, especially when you get sick and you end up having to take medications that prohibit you from losing weight and actually help you gain weight. I mean, just multiple things. Life comes at you fast, and before you know it, a ton of efforts go down the drain. And so, anyway, that's a whole different story. But for me, the lap band, my body rejected the lap band, and that was pretty horrific story. But I didn't lose a lot of weight on it, and I would always gag up on my meals, and it just, I don't know, it wasn't really effective for me. So that's why I decided, part of the reason why I decided to get a more drastic weight loss surgery as well. So anyway, and we'll have more videos for that to come. So if you have any questions, any comments, or anything, just go ahead and leave a comment or whatever. And if you have questions, I will do my best to get back to you. Thanks.